for us. Thanks, Jade. So Groundwork Yorkshire is part of the whole of the Trust of Groundwork UK. So we're obviously based in Yorkshire and the Humber, and we are as part of our roles, we're called enablers to support the Tesco programme. So that basically means there are a number of us across the region who work with stores. So I look after with Tracy, we look after all the North Yorkshire stores and many in East Riding. Karen looks after Hull and North Lincolnshire and some of East Riding. And then we have Peter, who looks after York and Selby, and our other enablers, Mandy and John, look after South Yorkshire and West Yorkshire. But we're only going to talk about the Humber and North Yorkshire tonight. So we provide the service, and if there's any questions, you at the end we'll have all our contact information. You can come back to us at any point and ask us, and we're all happy to help. Thank you, Jade. So Tesco Stronger Starts has been running for many years in different guises. You'll have heard of it as Bags of Help, and I can't remember what the other ones were, but it's now Stronger Starts, and the programme is targeted at supporting young people and families and children across the UK. So that's what they're funding at the moment. So we're open to schools, to charities, community organisations and sports clubs, and you can apply for up to £1,500. So this programme happens every 3 months, and then every 3 months, 3 projects are chosen by the staff at the store, and then it goes into a public vote and sits in store for 3 months. And obviously, do you remember when you go to Tesco and you put your blue tokens in, they will sit in stores for that region for that 3 months, and at the end they're all counted up, and then whoever gets the most tokens gets £1,500, the second gets 1,000, and the third gets 500. Thanks, Jade. So as I said, the scheme's open to all local schools, charities, community groups, including health bodies, the NHS, foundation trusts, parish, town and community councils, local authorities, hospices, daycare centres, housing associations that deliver projects particularly for young people and families and children. I mean, the ineligibility is quite small, to be fair. So obviously, if you're an individual or a big company for profit, you can't apply. And if your company is limited by shares with dividends, you can't apply. If you're a community interest company, which many social and voluntary sector organisations do become, you have to be have been running for 2 years to be able to apply. Thanks, Jade. So I'm going to hand over to Karen now. She's going to go through the process with you. And as I say, just keep any questions, put them in the chat, and we'll go through them at the end. Thanks, Karen.
Okay, thank you, Amanda. Right, if you follow the link and you put in Tesco Stronger Starts grants, and this is the first landing page you'll be sent to. So your page will look like this. On it will be your guidance notes. So I would suggest you always read the guidance section first. Then, if you don't know your local store, you can find your local store postcode through this step 2. And then finally, there's apply. If you click apply, then it'll take you to the next page. Next slide, please, Jade. So once you've clicked on the apply, it'll take you to the login page. Now, it's very important that you pay attention on this page, because here, this is where normally if someone has a problem and they can't find their passwords or anything, this is where it's happened, or they don't receive emails. If you must put your email correctly in here. If you don't, you can't then log back in. And so it's take the time to make sure it's easily done when you're tired or you're busy to make a tiny little mistake in your email. It's really important that you don't. And then your password, it's a usual one. It must have at least a capital, 1 numerical and 1 special case. But once you've done that, you create your account and then you click login, which will take you to the next page. Next slide, please, Jade. Okay, so now you're in your application portal. So here you've got your instructions, and then you've got this. You can use this bar to navigate around as well. Now, please do ensure that you click and save when you are navigating around, that you save or click next and automatically save. If you want to save at any time quickly, you can save and finish. Now, the questions marked with this little red symbol are mandatory. You must put something in here. So once you've got into here, you'll click on to page 1. Next slide, please, Jade. So page 1, section 1 is about your organisation. So this is all the mandatory stuff that you it'll have your lead contact details. If you're not a charity, you'll need to put a second contact details in, and you'll need to put personal addresses in for community groups. If you're a charity, you'll still need the 2 contacts, but you'll need the business. You can use the charity's registered office or the registered address. So that's fine. It'll also ask you to upload documents like your charitable constitution or your community group's constitution. In the terms of the schools, I would upload your letterhead. That will do. And I think there's different documents for parish councils and stuff like that, but normally just the terms of reference and things like that will suffice. But please make sure you do upload something into that. Next slide, please, Jade. Okay. So this is where you actually get down to the nitty-gritty of your application. You've got here a brief 1-line description of your project. Now this, I always leave this to last. Your 1-line description is the bit that the public will see. So leave that till you've done your application. It's your chance to sell your project. So when the public are voting and it's the only bit they see, you want something that kind of sums up your project and sells it to the community that are going to be looking at it. Now, question 14 is about your project. That's your chance to tell us. And what we're looking for there is, what is a need? What is a need that you are trying to address for your project? How do you know there's a need? So that might be some local stats and national stats, but also don't forget, it's about what difference it's going to make to your community and your service users. So talk about the local. It's very important that you say, this is what we want to do. This is why we want to do it. And this is what will happen as a result. Sell your stories. But you remember, you've only got 300 words, so choose them really carefully and succinctly, and really think about what it is, why do we want to do it? And what's going to be the impact are really, really important. Next slide, please, Jade. So then you've got come to your project budget. Good projects have a detailed budget. And by that, I don't mean that if you list every single chair you want to buy, but say you've got 4 chairs that you want to buy at £25, put chairs 4 times at £25 and then put the total in your total. And then it's very simple, but have a clear and concise budget. And what I would also say is, if you put 1,200 in and that's your budget, that's all you will get if you win. You will not get the 1,500, you will get the 1,200. So if you can, spend up to the 1,500. Next slide, Jade, please. Okay, this bit is for schools and young people's groups, and this is just a bit of kind of demographics. They want to know the percentage of different groups that you will be working with, and in schools you will have those details, so it should be fairly simple. Next page, Jade. Okay, on this managing your applications, here you've got your applications and requirements forms. Now, requirements forms are where your end of grant reports will be, and it'll let you know kind of what forms you need to complete and where. And also down here, you can see not only your in progress applications, but if you click on that, there's a little drop down menu which you can navigate to see your submitted applications, and you can also contact Groundwork UK, because once you've got an application in, we can't deal with it. As enablers, we deal with helping you get your forms in, but once they're in, we can check the status of an applications, but we don't really manage the process beyond that point. Next slide, please, Jade. Right, do you want to go hand over to you, Amanda?
Sorry, while we quiet
You weren't listening,
ourselves.
were you?
Yes, we were. avidly. So back onto the final bit again. It's really important that you remember your password. And another thing to remember, when you get your you've received your thank you very much, we've received your application. If you can make sure that you can accept those emails from Groundwork UK, because otherwise they'll go into spam and then you will forget them and not see them. This happens to all of us. And then when you've finished your project and you're ready to put all your final report in, none of us can remember it. So just try to remember, just write it down on a sticky note. I have thousands of them in the back of my diary, just to help you remember that, because that is one of the biggest queries that we get always, is about how do I get back in. So the requirement forms, that will show you what you need to do. When your project is due to end, you will be sent something. You'll be sent an email by Groundwork UK. You just fill that in. It's a very simple process. So this is what I did. This is how much I spent. And if you are successful with £1,500, you will get £1,000 up front, and then the 500 follow when you fill in your final report. If you get £1,000 or 500, you get it all up front. But it's really, really important that you do your final form, because without it, you can't apply for any more. So you're only allowed one live application in the system at any one time. So as soon as you finish your project, sign it off, and then you can apply for another grant. Anything else, Karen? Did I miss anything?
No, not at all. Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
although Amanda says you're going to have one application in at one time, that's only for that one region. And we'll come into
Yes.
the other regions in a little bit more detail in a moment.
Okay, thank you, Jade. Okay, so these are my regions. So this is North Yorkshire. So we look after the whole of North Yorkshire. Now, where the little yellow things are, that doesn't mean that if you live in Pickering, you're out of the game. What it means is that you can choose to apply for any funding across Yorkshire, but obviously we try and encourage you to go within your region. So in Scarborough, for example, we have so if you're in Malton, you can apply to the Scarborough store, but equally you could apply to the York store. And one thing that we do, we as enablers, we are given lists every month about where we're at in terms, they call them cold spots. So for example, we know at the moment that we do not have enough applications in Catterick, Northallerton at the moment. So if you were in Thirsk, it might be worth you thinking, well, actually, I'm going to apply to Northallerton because I know they haven't got enough applications in there, and there's a much better chance of you going through. So that's the whole of North Yorkshire that we cover. And if you are a bit confused about which store you should go to, on the initial application, you can put in, I live in whatever, and it will say where your nearest store is, and then you can choose. But as I say, it's really important if at that point, do check with us, because we can say to you, well, actually, yes, we can see that you're in Pickering, but actually, I'd perhaps apply to Thirsk this time. And we can help you with that. Thanks, Jade. Next slide.
Okay.
Over to you, Karen.
Thank you. As Amanda says, I also cover North and North East Lincolnshire. So these are my regions in North and North East Links. Grimsby is very often very well subscribed. Not so Barton, Scunthorpe, Brigg, or Gainsborough, particularly Gainsborough, because it's a little out on the limb. But if you are dealing now, you've got choices. If you're dealing purely in Grimsby, you would have to apply to Grimsby. But if you're a project either around the cusp, around here, or you're a project based in Grimsby, but actually you do work in Barton, Scunthorpe, and Brigg, you can apply to any of those areas. It cannot be the same project, but you can apply to any of those areas and you can apply at the same time. So you could potentially have a live grant in each of these regions. So, but it's only your area. You can only have one live grant at a time, but you can have one across any of these regions. You can have a live grant in if you are providing services to these areas, and that and that's the in between as well. So if you're in here in these little gaps in between, I would be thinking applying to Barton or Brigg rather than Grimsby. So if you're based in Immingham, I would go to Barton because you're less likely to have a lot of applications. Next slide, please, Jade. Okay, so this is a region, this is the Hull and East Riding. As Amanda said before, we cover this together jointly. I cover Hull A, Hull B, Beverley, Hornsey, and Wivensey. Now, in my regions, as you would imagine, kind of the coastal areas, they're quite small. I struggle. So we're always looking for applications in the Hornsey and Wivensey areas. Hull B is my most subscribed region here, but Hull A is, for some reason, they've divided Hull north-south. And as anyone knows Hull, we don't have a lot of south. So basically, this is supposed to be anything above Cottingham Road, you would fall into Hull A. Now you can, if you're working with service users in across Hull, then I would suggest applying to both. And again, similarly, Beverley, if you're working in Hull and Beverley, you can apply to Beverley as well. And then, Amanda, do you want to talk about Goole, Market, Wheaton, and Driffield and Brid?
Yeah. So as Karen says, we struggle along the coast as well. So I know that Bridlington and Filey are down. We haven't got enough applications in there. We really struggle with that every time. Gould this time is doing okay, but again, we struggle sometimes. So again, all these areas are usually down, aren't they? So please do feel, if you're in the middle of Driffield and Market Wheaton, do check with us, and then we can say, well, you'd be better going to Market Wheaton this time because there aren't enough in. Okay, thanks, Jade.
I would also mention there's some tactical things you can do as well. If say you've got a project that's needs quite a lot of resourcing, if you're savvy, you can apply for the capital first, spend that very, very quickly, and then go back to some revenue. Because Tesco is one of the few grants that actually doesn't mind paying revenue. So they don't mind paying for a proportion of salaries or the session or tutor costs. They're quite a nice funder like that, so you can pick up some revenue out of that. It's not just like some funders only want to fund capital items. They will fund other elements.
Yeah. Thanks, Karen. So you've completed all your forms, you've filled it all in, you've submitted it, and then you will receive an automated response from our head office. So that's Groundwork UK with a reference application number. Please do write this down and stick it somewhere important, because that will be what you'll need to be able to use to log in. Now, at this point, as Karen said, the enablers have very little to do with the next part of the process. So your application is then assessed by the central team. If they have any queries or they need any more information or there's anything missing, they will get back to you and ask you for that information. If there is nothing, it will then go into store. So every 3 months, all of us hold meetings with the store managers and the community champions and other colleagues in each of the big Tesco stores, and they make the decisions about which 3 programs are going to go to the public vote. So it's important, as Karen says, that you make your as sexy as you can, because that needs to appeal to the people in the store. It then goes on to the public vote. It'll sit in the store then for 3 months. So this round that we're doing now, the closing date for us is the 14th of November, and these will then go into store January, February, March next year. So from that, once your application is approved, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to ask us what's going on. If you obviously you can. If you think, where has it gone? I haven't heard for 6 months. Do contact us. As enablers, we get a big list of where everything is. But in big areas, it basically means you will stay within the program, so you'll never be dropped off. So if you're not chosen this round, you could well be chosen next round or the round after that. So it doesn't mean that you will automatically go through, which is why it's important when you're thinking about your program that you try not to have it too specific in terms of time. So for example, we've had applications in for Christmas activities, but they're not going to be seen till March, so they won't even be shortlisted. So it's just things like that to think about. But if in doubt, ask any one of us.
I've just got another point, Amanda. I had some people
Yeah.
that would plan it. We know that sometimes Tesco's will fund big events. Now, we also know that big events take a lot of planning, and sometimes you need to book elements in months and months and years in advance. If you do that, Please do not specify it's for this event. Say it's for resources towards that event. Do not say that it's for an event in July, because otherwise they won't view it till you come around, and you won't know if you're getting any money early. And if you need to plan those events, just say it's resourcing towards an annual festival, and that's all you need to put.
Yeah.
Okay. So long as you can spend that money within the 12 months, that's all you need to worry about.
Okay, thank you. I think the next slide. Oh no, very quickly, next one, Jade. So we mentioned that we cover the whole of Yorkshire. So we have other colleagues who cover West Yorkshire and South Yorkshire, but we're not going to talk about that. But if anybody is or has any colleagues in those areas, we can certainly pass on contact details. I think that's the next slide, isn't it, Jade, with all our contact details on. So that's all of us. And Jade will put this on the website, so you'll have all our contact details for all our areas. If you're not sure which area you're in, doesn't matter, any one of us can point you in the right direction. Now, are there any questions from anybody? There's nothing in the chat. Has anybody got any questions for us? Are you all delighted and happy and thrilled that we've covered everything?
It would seem so.
It would seem so.
Marvelous.
So all to say then is thank you so much for your time. We do appreciate you giving your time at the end of the working day. Any questions at all, we're all here to help. We all want you to have this money and do amazing things in your community. So once again, thank you. Oh, hang on. Can you still apply if you were part of a fruit? If you say you are supporting young people, yes. Just make sure that you mention the word young people in there.
Or families, children, young people and families.
Children and young people and families, which obviously you will be doing. Is that all right? Anything else from anyone else? Okay, well, we'll let you all get your jammers on then and
enjoy the rest of your evening.
Yeah, thanks ever so much for your time, everyone. Take care.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.